Crazy, crazy, crazy times. We have GPT 4.0 Mini. It is a Friday night, and there's only one thing we're going to do, and that is talk about AI, of course. So, if you haven't seen it already, ChatGPT have just released this brand new update called GPT 4.0 Mini, and that's what this whole live stream is going to be about. We're going to be testing out, creating some one-click SEO tools. I'm going to be showing you how you can use it for ChatGPT. We'll compare it versus Claude, and we'll also be covering any questions you have about SEO. So if you have questions, feel free to post them in the comments. And if you haven't seen it already, this is actually available for free. You can see right here under the availability and pricing section, you can now see that it's available in ChatGPT, Free Plus, and team users will now be able to access it completely free. Now, if you're wondering what this is, basically it's a newer, faster, and cheaper alternative to what they've already got out there. I think it's about 90% of the cost of GPT-4, which is pretty insane. You can see the multimodal reasoning evaluation is scored about 82%, I think, which is pretty crazy if you ask me. And we'll be testing out for AI SEO. And if you have any questions or if you're enjoying the live stream, please smash a like on it. And we'll get through some of the comments in a second, but if you want to see exactly how to get access to this, very quick, very easy. You just go to ChatGPT over here, and like I said, it's available as confirmed on the OpenAI website. And if you click in the top left over here, you can select GPT 4.0 Mini. And one thing I will tell you now that has blown my mind is how absolutely rapid it is, right? So, for example, if I test maybe one of my example prompts, let's take one for example for like topical maps, right? We'll take this one, right? This prompt right here. You can get access to it in my free course. And if we go on to GPT 4.0 Mini, you will see how fast and quick this is to respond. So I'll put niche equals, let's just say birds. We'll put language as English right there. And you can see how quick, rapid that is to respond. It's absolutely madness, crazy madness on a Friday night. I'll tell you that for free. Dean Call says, "Hey Julian, glad I caught you live. Good to have you on here. If you're enjoying it, please smash a like on the stream just so that we can help more people." And we'll go back to our topical map creator right here. And if we create part 2, like so, I'll show you how fast this is to actually create responses. So we'll take a random topic from our prompt right here, and you can see how fast it is. It's absolutely insane. I would say that's similar to a Grok level response rate. You can see how quick it is when it responds. If you've never used Grok, it's probably the fastest AI model out there, essentially. And it's crazy how powerful this can be. Now, we've got one question here from Edine Cole, who says, question, is it better for SEO to use a .com over something like a .io, or it doesn't really matter? I've always preferred to go for .com domains, simply because I think they can rank worldwide. I've ranked .com domains in a lot of different countries, and whenever you look at the rankings, obviously there are more .com domains out there, but typically .com domains rank pretty well, and you always see them in the rankings. So I would just go and keep it simple, like .com, good to go. Nothing wrong with that. So you can see how powerful this is, how quick and easy it is to use. What I'm actually going to do is I'll share my whole screen and we'll compare side by side ChatGPT Mini, the new version of ChatGPT, versus, say, Claude AI, right? So Claude 3.5 Sonnet, obviously, it just came out a few weeks ago. Pretty impressive model, if you ask me. But we can compare how fast the response rate is in terms of Claude versus ChatGPT. So if we, for example, give it the exact same prompt, and we'll start a new window here, and I'll even give Claude a bit of a head start. I'll show you what I mean in a second. So we'll zoom out right there, and we'll plug that prompt in to Claude, and we'll plug exactly the same prompt into ChatGPT 4.0 Mini, as you can see right here. If we hit enter over here, just to give Claude the head start, and then we'll hit enter over on GPT 4.0 Mini, you can see that it's just a ridiculous amount of times faster. Like, it's already finished the prompt right here, whereas Claude is still pumping it out, right? And so if you compare them side by side, it's wild how fast and how powerful ChatGPT actually is. And so one of the things that we're going to do today is we're going to test it out for creating one-click AI SEO tools. So if we go to my playground on OpenAI, this is another way that you can get access to ChatGPT 4 Mini. And to create content, you just go to GPT 4 Mini over here. You can select some system instructions. And if you actually switch to assistants, I created a tool earlier today for content creation. Now, this is using one of my favorite prompts at the minute. And then if we say create a article for me inside the playground right here, what it's going to do is it should ask me for a keyword. So it says, sure thing, what keyword would you like to focus on for this article? We can say keyword equals, let's put best SEO speakers, something like that. Then we'll hit enter and we'll wait for that to load. And you can see it just generates the content really quickly. And if you look at the actual titles as well, so it's included a keyword in the title. It's, let's see if it's included it within the first lines of the introduction. It's also included it right here before we dive in. And then it's covered like the main topics inside the content. Pretty fast if you ask me when it comes to content creation. So it's absolutely rapid if you want to create a lot of content. And if we click on the word counter plus over here, you can see it's generated 780 words in the space of a few seconds. Now, if we actually go to my usage, we can check how much it actually cost me to generate that particular response. So wait for that to load. And we can see I've been messing around with this pretty much all day. And it's only cost me like 0.7 cents to generate that article. Absolutely crazy how fast and easy that was. And the thing about this is as well, if we go to the token count right here, you can see that it actually supports up to 16K output tokens per request. Now, bear in mind, if you're using Claude 3.5 Sonnet, I believe the output tokens is like 4,000 tokens from what I remember. And let me just double check that. We'll put Claude 3.5 token output. It's actually got 200K context window. So it actually seems, I'm glad I fact checked that, but it seems like Claude 3.5 Sonnet still has a bigger token limit, a bigger context window, but still it's impressive what GPT-4o can do for the price. And you can see some of the benchmarks here. So you can see the model evaluation scores. We've got GPT-4o Mini in orange, Gemini Flash in what I would say is amber, Claude Haiku, GPT 3.5 Turbo, and GPT 4o. Now you can see GPT 4o is still one of the top performing models, but GPT 4o Mini for 90% of the cost, right? 90% cheaper, is actually performing really well. Performs a lot better than many of the outputs out there. So crazy what you can do with this, and crazy how powerful it actually is. So just wanted to show you that. Then we've got another question which says, when you do a parasite strategy or PR campaign, how long does the article and links stay up? So we can test this. If we actually run an example test, we'll go into incognito mode right here, and I'll just share my screen. And we can have a look at some of the articles that I've created recently and how well they're performing. Now, I don't really consider this like parasite SEO at this point. But if we put something random like best rapid website indexer right here, and we'll change the language output to English, you can see my Reddit subreddit ranking at the top, and that was created on June the 9th. So you can see this AI SEO article that actually created, I think it was with Autoblogging, if I remember correctly, generated right here 1 month ago, and it's still up and it's still ranking. And I've never had a Reddit article taken down. Now, if we scroll down, we can also see a LinkedIn article that I created 2 months ago, and that is still ranking. So that was created on April the 27th, 2024. And you can see again, that is ranking number 2. Now, if we keep scrolling down right here, let's see what else we got. We've got my website as well. I think, when was that created? Probably about a couple of weeks ago. And that's still ranking. So all my articles were created a few weeks ago and they're still up and ranking. And this process works really well, honestly. Yeah, I think it's a good process. Dean Cole says, I am moving to Thailand in October to connect with the SEO community. The conference is sold out. What would you suggest I do, since I am going to be in Chiang Mai anyway? So crazy story for you. Last year, I actually went to the Chiang Mai SEO conference. Absolutely amazing event. And I'm actually speaking there this year, speaking on agency stuff and how to scale your agency with marketing. And one of the things that I noticed was that the event was amazing, lots of great speakers, loads of great networking opportunities and that sort of thing. But there were so many events going on during the week that even if you don't have a ticket, just the whole experience and all the networking and all the conversations in between were absolutely amazing, worth going for, right? So, for example, the amount of people I connected with that I already knew, and also a bunch of people that I met at the event, and the amount of events I went to before the actual SEO conference even started was just like well worth it. So, I think even if you're in Chiang Mai and you don't have a ticket for the Chiang Mai SEO conference, I think it's just a great time to be there because it's probably one of the best gatherings of some of the best SEOs you're going to find. So yeah, even if you can't get a ticket, don't worry. Like that's not a big deal breaker. You're still going to have a great time. Crazy Hadu says I'm using Magento 2. It's taking too much time for ranking. I'm not familiar with Magento 2, honestly, but yeah, showing you some of my articles ranking right there. And what I'm going to do now is I will start building out some one-click AI SEO tools using ChatGPT 4.0 Mini. So what you can actually do if you log into make.com, which is kind of like Zapier, but a free version, so you get like 1,000 free operations per month, you can build your own auto blogging tools. So you can create your own tools using make.com. So if we wait for that to load, and once you're in your dashboard right here, you can scroll to scenarios. And when you're in the scenario section, you can just create a new scenario here, right? Now, if we actually go onto this, say, bulk content and bulk image generator, I'll show you exactly what I mean. And all of this is available inside my free SEO course. I'm just going to change that bit to plug into draft. Let me just wait a second for that. Yeah, so we'll plug it in draft because you don't want to publish it straight to your website. You want to do a bit of quality control before you go in. And what you'll see here is that we're using our inputs from Google Sheets to generate content directly. Now, what you can actually do at each stage of the process is previously, if you had built models with ChatGPT 3.5 Turbo, you can change this and switch to, for example, like GPT 4.0 Mini. Now, this only came out within the last 24 hours, but you can see that already it's already directly plugged into make.com. You can already use it. And then you can switch your outputs to that, build AI SEO tools using this process, just one click, and then you can save a lot of money, generate better outputs, generate smarter outputs, and save a lot of time as well because it's going to be much faster. So it's pretty cool what you can do with that. Let me show you some examples of scenarios that I built previously on make.com. So you can see, for example, a bulk content and bulk image generator, a bulk content generator. I even built one with Claude a couple of days ago as well. Check out my YouTube channel for more on that. We've got a content improver, content outline producer, content update machine. Pretty much anything you can imagine that you could create in terms of like a SaaS tool or in terms of emulating other SaaS tools, you could build with GPT 4.0. And the benefit that you're going to have now is that you're going to get faster and cheaper outputs because you're using the API directly from OpenAI to build these tools. Even like for social media, I think it'd be quite powerful. And so you can see directly inside ChatGPT and also directly inside make.com, you've got so many options now when it comes to creating content and building out. Dean Cole says, "You're the man, happy to help." And says, "If I join the boardroom, we'll know all the events before and after the conference." So we're actually going to run a meetup during the Chiang Mai SEO conference for members of the SEO boardroom and members of the SEO elite circle. So if, for example, you're in Chiang Mai and you join the SEO boardroom, you feel free to join the event that I run and you can part with us. And also a lot of the learnings that I get from the conference, I'm going to share inside the SEO boardroom. So feel free to join. Rolling 90 Crips. Wow. Okay. Says, "Dear Julian, I produce 14K gold rings and jewelry under my own brand, and I have an internationally valid certificate. What do you think I should do and choose to set up a website at the beginning? Thank you." All right. This is really cool. We're going to focus on this for that. So we're going to build out a plan for our website based on 14K gold rings. Normally, SEO consultants are going to charge you thousands of dollars for that. We're going to use it with Chat GPT 4.0 Mini today. Now, the first place I would start is with keyword research. So if we log into Ahrefs right here, we're going to find a bunch of keywords around 14K gold rings that we could realistically rank for. So I'm just going to change the country to the United States, and you should be able to see that right now. We're going to put 14K gold rings into Ahrefs, as you can see. And if we look at this, it's actually a pretty easy keyword to go for. So there's a lot of traffic potential. And if that's your main keyword, happy days, because that's going to be pretty easy. And you can see this was updated 4 days ago. So this is like a recent update. Now, if we look at who's already ranking inside the SERPs, this is the first place I would start. So I would start with the competition, see who's already ranking, how are they getting traffic, and how can I build a topical map around what they've already produced. Now, what you also see is that not all of these are going to be 100% relevant. So, for example, if we look at some of these sites, they're more about like jewelry in general versus just 14K gold rings. But I'm going to map this out into a document for you. And the first place I would start is with the keyword research, right? You just want to find relevant keywords that you can actually rank for. Now, if none of your competitors are actually specializing in 14K gold rings, we can just check them out and see what we think of their website. Are they actually targeting 14K gold rings, or are they just targeting jewelry in general? Yeah, okay. They're just targeting jewelry in general. So in that case, what I'm actually going to do is start with the keyword research over here. And I would just find relevant keywords that I could produce content around and sort of map out my website. Now, another way to do this, if you want to do it for free, is you can go onto Google Keyword Planner tool over here. This is completely free. And if we look at some of these keywords, we'll try and find a niche site that we could try and emulate or learn from that's focused on 14K gold rings. Let's see if we can find one. There's not much. They all seem to be like general jewelry websites. Okay, doesn't matter. What we can do is we can go into Google Keyword Planner. We can put discover new keywords. We'll put 14K gold rings like so. We're going to hit get results over here. And then once we've got the keywords from this method, we can actually download them. So we're going to download that as Google Sheet. We'll hit download, open that up in a Google Sheet in a second. It will take a couple of minutes to open. And essentially what we're trying to do is map out our website before we start creating content to figure out, okay, what content do we need to create and when do we need to create it? And so we've got all our keywords right here, but the problem is a lot of them are going to be all over the place, quite messy. And additionally, a lot of these keywords are going to be overlapping, right? So for example, if you look at this and you're looking down the list, you're like, right, 14K earrings and 14K gold earrings, probably the same keyword search intent. So we don't need to create 2 pages. And so what I'm going to do from here is I'll take like the top 150 keywords from this list. We'll go into ChatGPT 4.0 Mini. We'll plug our list of keywords, and I would just take like the top 150, top 200 for now, and just say create a topical map based on the keywords below, right? And what that's going to do is map out the keywords and the categories and the pages that we need to create under each cluster, right? And so what you can see right here is that you've got the category 14K gold rings, and then you've got all the pages that you can create underneath that. Now, the cool thing about this is, number one, the keyword research is completely free. And number two, this is based on actual data from Google. It's probably some of the most accurate data you can get. Now, I would still ignore the competition ratings because that's based on pay-per-click. It's not based on organic listings, right? So it's based on the ads, not on SEO. And I would also scroll through here and I'd ignore most of the data, but the keyword stuff, that's what I'm focusing on. And so what we've got right here is a topical map for gold rings, and we can say, right, I'm going to create a page on this, and this, right? And one of the things you want to check and be careful of is, do you need separate pages for each of these pages, right? So for example, gold wedding band and gold men's wedding band, they might just require one single page. You might not need to create two separate pages for this content. Now, how do you figure that out? What you can do is you can go onto Google and you can type in 14K gold wedding band. And then you can also take the other keyword, 14K gold men's wedding band, and just check, do the same results in the organic listings show up for that particular keyword, right? So, for example, rustic and main show up here, unique gold wedding bands for men and women, and just mensrings.com show up for 14K gold wedding bands. Now, because this is showing different search results for similar keywords, you would create different pages for each keyword, right? And you just use a bit of common sense like that as you go through the list. You can see again, you've got a bunch of other pages that you can create under 14K gold earrings right here. And again, you would do the same method. Just make sure you don't need to make sure you're not cannibalizing all these keywords. But from here, you've basically mapped out the whole site architecture and you know exactly what type of content to create, right? Now, in terms of actually creating the content, you would look at your competitors and figure out, okay, what content is required. Because, for example, some people might go off and create a blog post at this point with ChatGPT 4o Mini. But the thing is, if all your competitors and if Google is showing listings pages, aka like e-commerce pages for that particular keyword, then you would do the same. You're not going to create a blog post for a page about 14K gold rings if Google wants to show product pages, right? And what you can see right here is this is more like a category page with listings of each product. And so you would create the same. And that's essentially how you would create the content, right? Now, if you look at the content on the page, what you can do right here, and they've done this as well, it's quite smart. You'd have keyword optimized title, short introduction paragraph that's keyword optimized, but basically nobody's going to read. Then you're going to scroll down. It's going to have listings of all the products that you sell. And if you don't sell them, you could also just drop ship them, or you could link out to Amazon or whatever you want to do. And, just be careful in terms of being transparent with that. And then also have some FAQs at the bottom. Now, you can see right here what they do, and this is what a lot of e-commerce stores do when they're creating content, is they include it as like a sort of like a drop down, right? So you can click plus and you can see the content, but most people are not going to click plus. Now, why do you do that? It's because you don't want a really long page for that particular keyword, right? Really, what people want to see is the listings. Now, when you're writing for the algorithm, you can answer a bunch of FAQs at the bottom of your e-commerce page, which means that the text is hidden to the user unless they want to read it, but the crawler, Google's crawler, when it's scrolling through the page, is going to see this highly contextually relevant content. And so if you answer the questions at the bottom of the page, you hide them with a drop down like this, then you can create content that's going to help you rank. It's going to make your page unique from everyone else's because you've got different content, but at the same time, it's not going to interfere with conversion rates or user engagement. And that's basically how you would go with the keyword research and also the content optimization. Now, when we're doing this sort of stuff, and Ed Cole says, this is the type of things I need to learn and connect with experts to help me get up and running, which I'm really glad that is helpful. And Rolling 90 Crips says, thank you very much, Julian, appreciate it. So happy to help. And Mohammed says, can we start informational blog on this keyword? What do you say about it? So like I was talking about, depends on what's already ranking, right? So you want to reverse engineer what's already ranking and then base the content you create on what's already ranking, right? Because the clues are hiding in plain sight in terms of what Google actually wants to see on the first page of Google, and then you reverse engineer that, right? So for example, if you look at that keyword, Google wanted to show e-commerce pages, right? And so you would create an e-commerce page, a category page, essentially. If, for example, you saw a bunch of blogs on the first page for that particular keyword, then you would create a bunch of blogs around that particular keyword. And that's it. Now, AI Business Plan says, nice to catch you live. Happy to help, mate. And Roland says, how can I get you due? Thank you very much. I'm just happy to help. Like, I'm happy to give you free advice. If this is useful, I've done my job and I'm really happy with that, right? Now, what I want to show you is the next step, which is link building, right? Because we've already covered keywords, already covered content, we already covered the topical map. One last thing I want to show you is how to build backlinks for a website like this, right? And we actually have quite a big jeweler working with us. So we do this method like pretty much every single month for them. We have done for years, right? I'm not going to mention who they are, but they're a massive, massive brand in terms of jewelry in Europe. And so what you can do is you would go to Content Explorer inside Ahrefs, and you want to find relevant topics that you can create content around that would attract a lot of backlinks. Now, when you hit search like so, what you're going to see is if you go really niche, like if you go into something like 14K gold rings, you're going to see that there's not many potential backlinks you can get. How do you know how many backlinks you can get? Because you look at what your top competitors for that particular keyword are getting in terms of link building, right? Now, if you see numbers in, if you see ones or fives or tens as referring domains or 15s or threes or 20s, that's not a good sign. That's not enough backlinks to run an average campaign from. So what you can actually do is just go a bit wider, cast the net wider, make sure it's still contextually relevant to your blog, but find something that's got a lot more backlinks to attract in terms of the content you create. And when you create this content, it's not for SEO, it's for attracting backlinks. And so what you can do is you could go as broad as something like gold, right? And if you look at a topic like gold, it's quite broad, right? So that's gone too broad. We're going way too broad here. So we're going to find something in the middle, and we're going to put something like, maybe let's have a look at something like jewelry, right? Let's have a look at jewelry. And what you can see here is that there's a ton of backlinks, right? And so if you created something like the ultimate guide to making your own home jewelry or something like that, then you can see that you could reach out to all the websites that have linked to this particular store and say, hey, I created this guide about jewelry. I know you're linking to this other site about jewelry. Would you mind linking to mine too? And then you just negotiate a backlink from there. How would you reach out to them? You reach out to them via cold email. How many emails do you need to send? Well, you probably need to send about 50 or 100 to get one backlink. How many follow-ups you need to send? I would say at least 2. How would you get the email addresses? You get them from Hunter.io. That's what I used to do. Nowadays I use Pitchbox, but if you're not an agency, then you would use Hunter.io. I would recommend, right? And you can do the outreach, the cold email outreach with that, right? But basically what you're going to do is find topics like this that attract a lot of backlinks, then create an informational guide that's value packed around the same topic, put it on your website, and then reach out to all the sites that have linked to these other stores in the same niche and just say, hey, would you mind linking to me, right? And that's essentially it. So we've covered keywords, content, we've covered backlinks, we've covered topical maps, and you've pretty much got a free SEO strategies tonight that someone would normally pay thousands of dollars for. And if you want to learn more about that, or if someone is watching this and they want that all personalized to their website, then feel free to book in a free SEO strategy session, and step by step I can teach you exactly how to do that. Now, I think that's pretty much it in terms of comments. I've answered every single question and comment inside the chat today. So thanks so much for watching. Appreciate it as always. If you want to get all of what I've talked about today personalized to your website for free on a one-to-one session where we can answer any questions that you have, then feel free to book that in. Appreciate everyone who's watching. Great questions. Good to see you on here, Edie and Cole, and Crazy Hadu. Shout out to Rolling 90s, Mohammed as well. Appreciate everyone watching. See you on the next one. Bye-bye.